Future Proof is sponsored by Learn Smart Academy, online revision courses for GCSE and A-Level. All your revision in one place, organised for you, interactive and game-changing.
Hello and welcome to Future Proof. Thank you so much for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, as I continue this series. It's series 8 and I'm asking the question, if you like, how to, and I'm hoping that as I work my way through this series that I cover subjects, aspects of business, even aspects of life that can maybe helpful, inspiring. I share some of my stories too as to things that have helped me, things that have hindered me. And my hope is that this is, as I say, it gives you some value, perhaps signposts you as to what you should do or stop doing in your next steps as you forge forward in your plans. And before I carry on to say more about today's session, it's just come to me to say about strategy. You know, years ago you could draw up a strategic plan for, let's say, 5 years, and then it reduced to, 4, 3, 2, 1 kind of idea, and that strategic plan was agreed by everybody and then drawn up and, if you like, put in a drawer. And the whole landscape has changed now. So the key word now is motion. We can't wait for a perfect environment before we start moving. So the strategic approach has shifted, and it's a bit like shuffling forward and trying to go this way, and if it doesn't quite work, then reassess and change, and then maybe go another way. And that is the strategic approach. And being light on your feet, being flexible, being open to change is all part of the new strategy. Yes, we need to be proactive. That's very, very important. But in this climate too, we've got to be reactive as well. Not overreactive, not hyperreactive, but to be, considered in our thinking. Yes, to suspend and evaluate, but do be prepared to react to something that might have come in on your pitch, which has affected the game, if you like. And part of that is covered in today's session, and what I want to talk about today is waste. Toyota 7 Waste is the model that I'm going to be using. You're going to be seeing the Mindshop tools. It's their PowerPoint that I'm using, and it works through the 7 wastes. And when we look at that, it's about wasting time, money, energy. It's waste as a whole. Then if we address that, then it helps our profit line, and it reduces the losses. And very often when we have new ideas, people are completely consumed in talking about the benefits and the reasons why it should be done, and desperately pushing and trying to get a yes from somebody through persuasion. And I just love the thought process, the psychology of saying, stop pushing, stop trying to persuade me. Why not ask the question, if we don't do this, what will happen? And this is very relevant to the discussion today over waste. If you don't stop waste, and a big cause of waste in a business is in fact conflict. Conflict costs business fortunes. If we all sat round and said, right, write down your top things that you see when there is conflict anywhere, business, family or anything else, what are they? If we collated all those ideas, you'd have a list of 100 or more results, if you like, of people in conflict. But one of the top 2 is avoidance and withholding information. Avoidance and withholding information. And if I just say those 2 things, how much is that costing your business now? Because somebody is avoiding, and that can be walking round a desk to avoiding a conversation, it can encompass lots of things. And withholding information, power play, posturing, whatever you want to call it, costs business money. So please be careful, and all this is covered in the 7 wastes. So we'd be looking at understanding where waste fits into the business improvement stage, develop a basic understanding of lean manufacturing, understand and use the Mindshot five-step waste reduction process, identify your waste using the 7 waste, which is the Toyota tool, and also then creating a one-page plan. As already, if you've been following these programs, you will see a repeat of some of the tools in action, and it's obvious why those repeats are there, because they are the backbone of problem solving. They're the backbone of getting the information that you need so that you can forge forward in your problem solving. So, waste can be one of the most effective ways to increase profitability in businesses. Studies have shown that waste in a company can be as much as 30% of the operational cost of the business. There's a great inspiring story here of a manufacturing business. And when everybody arrived at work, all the machinery had to be turned on. So people went and had coffees and they stood and had a chat. And it was going to be probably a good 20 minutes or 30 minutes before people got to their desks, if you like, whatever that meant to them, and got on with their work. A business saved over £1 million by employing one member of staff to get to work early to switch all the electrics on. So obviously this is a very big business that I'm talking about, but what it meant was it broke the habit of the chattering over the coffee as soon as people arrived to work. It meant that everybody had no excuse for not getting to their desks, whatever that was, their production line, and getting on with their work. And they were able to identify the money that they saved on that. So this is about saving loss rather than, as I say, promoting and driving through. And it was over £1 million for that business. So it's very, very important. It's as important as selling is saving money, is saving the waste, sorting out the waste. To eliminate waste, it is therefore important to fully understand exactly what waste is, and we'll be looking at that, the 7 stages, and where it can be found. And we're very, very good, particularly Paul, my husband. If you want to Google him, Paul Hopwood Consulting, he's brilliant at going into businesses and digging around in those 7 areas, finding where that waste is, and also managing that, because that's very, very difficult, because it does bring in challenges and what have you, and also having a plan to move forward. Whenever you stop something, you must always put something in the gap, if you like, the void that has been caused by stopping it, because if not, everybody just auto defaults, goes back to their old patterns of behaviour. So going into the break, I just want to talk through then the business improvement stages, and there are 3 fundamental stages. The first one is the structure. When you bring about change, you need to look at the structure of your business, and that's looking, if you like, from the hierarchy, and also having, I think, the mind mapping, if that's the the right word for it, of your magic wands. This is where if you look at a previous program, the magic wands should work, and in those magic wands you can then double check the structure of your business now compared to the structure of the business that you want moving forward. And when I've worked with businesses on this, one of the big things that's happened in that structure box and area is actually introducing agile working. They had their magic wands. They realised that the structure that they had now would not serve them moving forward in the future. So they wanted to bring in agile working, and they addressed that by having revamps done and meetings with teams and staff and buy-in from the directors and all that. So a key area, and that is visible. Everybody can see it. The time frame, 6 months maybe to a year, depending on the size of the business. Then you have the waste, which is stage 2, and that's what we're going to be covering now. And we're not covering it so much now, but if you look at stage 3, that is the beliefs of everybody. And their beliefs, anybody's belief, will always be revealed in their language, and always remember that actions speak louder than words. So obviously in their actions. That can take between 2 to 5 years. So Having an impact on beliefs, people often like to wait and see evidence or follow the leader. I'll only believe or shift my thinking if somebody I admire is doing it. So, make sure that the top from the boardroom down, that everybody is living those new beliefs. Fake it till you make it, if you like. Live to it before it's actually manifested lower down. And perhaps that's a way of moving people through more quickly. So the business improvement stages start with structure, then we look at waste, which is what we're going to be looking at now. And once you get rid of the waste, then you can really, then it's a bit like clearing the decks in the kitchen before, if you like, baking a cake or something like that. My husband does all the cooking in the household, by the way. And then it's the beliefs. It's then seeing what is left and then looking at the belief of deciding, if you like, exactly what the values are of the business. Make sure they're in your mantras and your strap line, and make sure that those values are being used in the language in the business, but also outside the business. So for example, using perhaps one of your values, a word or two, when the phones are being answered, when the emails are being answered. Values are absolutely key and hold everything together. So I'll see you in just a moment.